Hello, and welcome to the Futurum Tech Webcast. I'm your host, Shelly Kramer, Principal Analyst here at Futurum Research, and today we're talking about an increasingly relevant topic, data, IoT, and AI for industry. My guest today is Dr. Alexandr Sadovoy, who's a solution architect for Mindsphere products at Siemens Digital Industry Software. Before we get started, just a little prelude. As organizations connect their assets to the Internet of Things and they begin receiving and visualizing data, new needs emerge. They may want data scientists to implement machine learning or artificial intelligence to receive predictive analytics. But the reality of it is that data scientists are in short supply, and organizations need new and better ways to run their models. Alexandr joins me today to talk about the options that are facing organizations today and what Siemens is doing specifically as it relates to Siemens Industry Software to help organizations achieve their goals. So without further ado, Alexandr, welcome. It's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you, Shelly. Yeah, you're totally right. So really, in the past, AI was, let's say, the topic for data scientists. Yeah, so you need really a lot of knowledge, understanding in mathematics,
Right.
and in all of the background of this. Yeah, but right now, I mean, step by step, we are in the stage that we can really move this through the manufacturing, through the productive organization to give it as a tools for engineers. Yeah, not really having the deep knowledge in data science.
Kind of doing the
And
heavy lifting for engineers, if you will.
yes, that's right. This is like you can compare this, let's say, with finite element modeling. Yeah, so in the past it was also things for mathematicians, but right now you have plenty of software tools, let's say, to model products. Yeah, to have the CAD modeling and so on, process simulation, and all it's available, let's say,
Right.
for engineers. And yeah, you're right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we dive in any more on that topic, I'd love to know a little bit about you. So, would you tell us a little bit just about your own career path, how you ended up where you are today, and what your role at Siemens is today?
Yeah, sure. So I started at Siemens 12 years ago. I studied in the university in the Ukraine in physics, and I have a PhD in natural science. And I had different positions within gas turbine engineering at Siemens, focusing on development, let's say R&D in the manufacturing processes, and then step by step went into direction of digitalization,
Right.
and was responsible as a program manager for industrial IoT topics and digital metrology. Let's say practically getting closer to the IoT and implementing the also machine learning and AI techniques, yeah, into in manufacturing processes.
So there's not a lot you haven't touched on this
Yeah,
topic. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So most people have some familiarity with the concept of artificial intelligence, but let's talk about what kinds of companies are using artificial intelligence today, especially, or in particular with the Internet of Things.
Yeah, so we can actually divide here companies into two groups. So first of all, the providers of the artificial intelligence technique, yeah,
Right.
and right now the most of the cloud service providers, let's say, provide also artificial intelligence tools. I would say this is Google, IBM, Amazon Web Services, and
Right.
also Siemens have some tools providing this functionalities. But it's also important to have a user software, yeah, particular applications which are utilizing these service functions, services, let's say, building some solutions for particular use cases for particular companies. And for now, a lot of companies have own solutions. They are quite local, yeah, I mean, developed by data scientists, and but there are some solutions which are able on the market, let's say, to provide out of the box functionalities, yeah, for let's say normal users.
Right. Right. I think that out of the box functionality is becoming increasingly more attractive.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit, if we can, about, you know, I mean, I know you're immersed in this space. I know a lot about the IoT in the manufacturing industry, but let's talk a little bit, if we can, what some of the primary uses that we're seeing with AI and the IoT in the manufacturing industry.
So the AI in general, maybe we can talk about AI in general. So this is
Sure.
practically the way how to use human-like way of thinking, yeah, in the automatic processes. Practically utilizing the AI method, or in particular machine learning, yeah, we can really use similar methods by working with machine data to making some kind of automatic decision, to making some prediction, yeah, based on some history data. So it's like human learns, yeah, with step by step, yeah, learning more and more things which he meets in his history. And the same works with the artificial intelligence methods. So practically the system learns from the past, yeah, to predict something what happens in the future and to make
Correct.
corresponding decisions. And there are a lot of application in industry. um, Practically this is quite different what we had in the past. In the past we had like deterministic approach. You have to have process model, you have to understand deeply your process to be able to tell, okay, if your process works well or not. But now you can, without knowledge of the process, based on statistical methods implemented in the AI in machine learning, you can really predict something that happens in the future. So practically you
Right.
establish some function between system parameters which able you to connect your input data with your somehow output data which you would like to predict. And yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And another thing, and not the very least, of things that are important in this equation is, when you have AI and machine learning working together, we're able to see from a machine functionality and be proactive and predict problems rather than be reactive when it comes to problems. And I think that that's an important component here too. Especially we're under, in industry, in manufacturing, we're under greater stress probably the world over than we have been in a long time, with supply chain issues and wars going on and all different kinds of things. So being able to predict problems and to remedy them before they actually become problems, I think, is a big part of this that's extremely valuable.
Yes, this is perfectly right, exactly. So practically you apply these methods, yeah, in real processes. Yeah, I mean, there are typical examples. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows about predictive maintenance. Yeah, this is
Right,
quite known buzzword. Yeah, but at the end, what you do, you establish a relation between the input parameters which you get from the machine, from the environment, or maybe from the user.
right,
You train your model with this input. Once you know what was in the past wrong, yeah, I mean, if the machine failed, if the machine got into some problem, yeah, so you train the model and you can predict this in the future. You can
right,
get some notification that machine uh, starting to fail, let's say, and to prevent
right.
this. Yeah, it's practically predictive and preventive approach. It's something what we can apply also not to maintenance but to all process. Yeah, which for example predictive quality. Once you focused on your product, yeah, so always you want to reduce scrap rate. You want to ensure that you don't produce any deficit products, and you can also train your model with input data to predict some behavior of the product in the future.
All incredibly valuable, I think, in today's industrial operations. So let's talk a little bit, if we can, Alexander. Will you give us an overview of where Siemens Digital Industry Software, where it is that you and your team think AI is going? And this, I think, to me, is the most exciting part. It's beyond, things like predictive maintenance, which we can do today, but where are we going with this?
Yeah, that's right. So basically, there are two directions. I mean, in the using of the AI. So first of all, you can apply AI and machine learning algorithms locally on the machine, so-called on-the-edge computing. So it means you really do some calculation related to prediction on the machine controller, or on some, I would say, hardware running close to machine, let's say, in
Right.
real time. And there are some solutions already available, yeah, for the edge analytics. And another approach is to use a cloud-based solutions. So practically, you send the data from the machine, maybe pre-processed at the edge, yeah, but you send some aggregated data to the cloud-based environment. And Siemens developed the cloud, so-called Mindsphere.
Hmm.
And in Mindsphere, it's possible to store this data and to deploy the application which can work with this data in the automatic mode. Let's say to deploy the machine learning models. Let's say to create, let's say to train model and to create predictions to be consumed by user applications. And
Yeah.
this is something what Siemens is doing. Yeah, there are some dedicated solutions already available, especially in Mindsphere, let's say to work with machine data to predict some trends in so-called time series data which coming out of machine. And there are also some other solutions in the pipeline, let's say to deploy machine learning, for example, for prediction of the quality results based on machine data. And this is also something what is going to be implemented. Yeah.
So I think that um, specific to Siemens Mindsphere AI, I think that, to me, part of the beauty of technology solutions in general, and this solution in particular, is that what it allows is for organizations with limited technical knowledge and expertise in AI. And a lot of times there are issues in terms of, trust can often be a barrier to entry, right? This is, I'm looking at making a financial investment. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to go. This is where I also say, and my team and I talk about this often, that I think the formula for success in business today is really the ability, the strength of the partnerships that you are able to forge. And I think we see that more and more. But having a trusted vendor partner who can help deliver solutions like this, I think, is part of the key to success. That said, for someone who's thinking about doing something like this, I know that trust is a barrier to entry. So let's talk about some of the ways out, or some of the tools that are available to help overcome those barriers or that resistance. What have you seen?
Yeah, so actually with Mindsphere, we have quite a high level of flexibility. So there is some
Mhm.
solution, so-called predictive analytics service, which enables data scientists, let's say, to create own model, really to implement own scripts as a full program and practically run it on Mindsphere. But from the other hand, you are right. Yeah, so the to reduce these entry difficulties for the companies. Yeah, if you don't have data scientist expertise, then there are some out-of-box solutions. Yeah, for example, so-called AI for everyone solution. It's a trend analysis software. Yeah, which really enables with quite simple user-friendly interface, enables to, let's say, to create models and to build trends of let's say of time series data, which is already helpful, let's say, for prediction of machine parameters. For
Mhm.
example, if you track motor temperature or some other parameters, yeah, in real time, yeah, you can actually, based on previous results, to predict what happens in the future. And another option is also to, for example, this is something what we are planning to develop, and I will be responsible for this. Yeah, to develop the production quality hub application, which is focused on prediction of the quality results based on machine data. So practically, you analyze the time series data. I mean, from multiple parameters related to the machine. You aggregate the data in the needed form, and you capture also the quality results. For example, if you do some measurement, I don't know, if you drill holes with a machine tool and want to measure diameter, the diameter would be the quality output, and you want to keep this parameter in some tolerance. And there is a way to use machine learning, to predict final results, based on the machine data. It's something what we will do in automatic mode with a dedicated application. So practically, to let user not really concentrate on mathematics, not on what happens in the background, but just select data and just to get their prediction result.
So it's kind of an easy button.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but that's what I'm looking for, is an easy button. So I know that, so you've given some great examples. Do we have any, I always like to ask, do we have any customer, you don't have to name a customer, of course, but do you have any customer success stories or use case examples? I find that sometimes it helps to know that, company XYZ had these challenges or did this or whatever, and this is where they are. This is the result. Anything like that you can share with us?
Yes, sure. So we are running now let's say, some feasibility studies for proof of concept within Siemens, with Siemens factories. I can tell, I would not name this company, but this electronics company to produce some chips and electronic parts. And there is quite successful results. I mean, for prediction of some parameters or classification. For example, if you look at the quality, sometimes you don't need to predict the results, but you need to classify is a part good or bad, let's say true or false. And this is also part of machine learning, and we have quite good results, let's say, with some particular processes. And
Yeah,
to be honest, with machine learning, it's even impossible to develop some software without real data, without real proof of concept, because this is not deterministic anymore. You have really to work with real data to ensure that your algorithm, your model really works.
Well, and lots of real data. I mean, that's the key.
For sure.
I think that's the key to success with machine learning is, taking these mountains of data that we generate every day and being able to put them to use for us. So you've talked with us a little bit about Siemens Mindsphere AI. And, are there any other points that you want to make, either in terms of benefits of the solution that we haven't yet talked about, or, more thoughts on who might benefit from this AI functionality? I know we talked about it a little bit. If there's something that we haven't hit on, I would love to hear from you on that front.
Yeah, sure. So definitely, I mean, the business case of this kind of application is related to process automation. It means you do multiple process, or you do even decision making in the automatic mode. It means the particular engineers, first of all, get some more insight in the real processes because they understand processes better once they build a machine learning model. This is one advantage, but another advantage is the engineer gets some suggestion or even get some decision from the automatic system, let's say how the system behaves or what output is expected. And definitely there is a lot of advantages. So you can prevent the machine stops, you can prevent the machine failures, you can prevent the damaged parts, and this all actually the benefit for the company.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I would also touch this topic of data. Yeah, definitely we are talking about big data. Yeah, but it's also important the quality of the data. It means for machine learning, it's not a magic. Yeah, so at the end, you should have in your input data the overall information to be able to predict the output. Yeah, if this information is not there, so it's not no chance, let's say, for even for machine learning or artificial intelligence to give some good results. It means it's really important to concentrate on getting exactly necessary data, which describe your system, let's say, to enable good output at the end from the machine learning algorithms. And this is something very important what we learn now from all feasibility studies and from all, let's say, implementation stories, that data quality is very important.
Data quality is indeed very important. I think that's a fundamental business principle, right? So, what a fascinating conversation. And I know that, I know enough about the Siemens team and about the Mindsphere solution and the Mindsphere team. I think one of the coolest things is that, you are there every step, your team is there every step of the way with your customers who are implementing this. And I think that that is a huge benefit as well. I think that, today, what customers are looking for is not somebody to just sell me a solution and walk away. And so I think that, to me, that's one of the big value props, is that you and your team are able to bring sort of all of the expertise and all of the learnings that you have across a gigantic customer base and apply them for me, no matter what my particular situation is, or what, how large or small my company is. And, is that a fair assessment of part of the value proposition?
Yes, that's right, for sure. I mean, cooperation with the customers, the most important thing, yeah, because you have to ensure that you get the right data, as I
Right.
mentioned, and that you have to ensure that your model works in the pilot phase, and once it's shown, that then it works quite automatically. But in the very beginning or in the implementation phase, yes, sure, it's necessary to cooperate. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's right.
Absolutely. And I think that's what I'm looking for when I buy a technology solution. So I've always thought that that's really a great part of this value proposition. Well, Alexander, it has been a fantastic conversation for our viewing or our listening audience. I will tell you that we have barely, hit the tip of the iceberg in terms of the many terrific things that Siemens Mindsphere AI can do and is doing in the marketplace right now. And so if you'd like to learn more about that or any of the functionalities that we talked about today, we'll be sure and include links in our show notes. I will include a link to Alexander's LinkedIn profile so that you can find him there if you want to reach out to him and have any questions about that. But that's going to wrap up our conversation today. Alexandr Sadovoy from Siemens. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. It's been a terrific conversation. I really appreciated it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to present the Mindsphere solutions and let's say AI trends we are working with.
Absolutely. Well, I think that what you and your team are doing with Mindsphere is incredibly exciting, and I know there's more innovation to come. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.